Hi, this is Steve New, and welcome to this episode of Our Road to Camelot. This episode is all about sanitizing your fresh water tank. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, to give just a little bit of background to this, many years ago, Don and I, with our very first RV, which was a tent trailer, I made a horrible mistake and decided that it was okay to drink from the holding tank and knew nothing about how to sanitize. To say the least, my brother, who is a biologist, said I had a mild case of food poisoning. To be honest, if that was mild, I never want to experience severe. I was so sick, I won't go into details. It was awful. I have been over the top since then as far as how to sanitize. If you have not sanitized your tank before, or it may have been a year, you should be doing this probably every 6 months. Personally, I will do it every 3 to 4 months if I have not used the fresh tank. I'm just over the top that way. So let's go ahead and break down what you're going to need and how you're going to make this all happen. First of all, Clorox bleach. Truthfully, it could be any bleach. This is not Clorox. This is just a store brand, but you want bleach. And I have a funnel that I have dedicated just for this purpose. And that's only because I don't want to use a funnel that's been used for oil or something else. I have this one funnel that I use only for sanitizing the tank. The formula is what most people say: a quarter of a cup of bleach for every 15 gallons. That's 1 quarter for every 15 gallons of fresh water. Now, our holding tank holds about 78 gallons. Simple math would say just a little over 1 1/4 cups. For good measure, I'm going to be putting in about 1.5 cups. Can you overdo it? Well, not necessarily, but you may need to flush more than once if you put in too much bleach. You don't want to have a bleach smell or a bleach taste when you are completely finished with the process. The first time I did this, I think I went with 2 full cups, and I had to do a second flush because we were still getting chlorine smell in the water. So my first steps I'm going to do, I'm going to empty my fresh water tank all the way. So you're going to need to find out where the valve is for your fresh water tank. Newer rigs, they have a really great big valve on them. Older RVs, they might have just a little spigot. So either way, drain it all the way. And then the next step we're going to do is we're going to fill the tank about halfway with water. I'm going to put in my 1.5 cups of chlorine, and then I'm going to finish filling it to the top, all the way to the top with water. And then we will wait 24 hours. But we got a few steps in between. So first of all, let's go dump that tank, and let's go ahead and start refilling and adding our chlorine. Now on my fifth wheel, the fill spout is right here. Underneath the rig, that is the valve for the fresh water. I don't care that it's going to drain on some hoses and things. It's just fresh water. I'm going to go ahead and pull that. And we're going to go ahead and let this empty all the way out. So while this is emptying out, I'm going to go ahead and get my freshwater hose ready. I do like using filtered water when I do this process. So I'm going to make sure I got my filter on, and we're going to go ahead and start filling the tank back up once it's done draining. All right, the funny thing is I wasn't even near full of the fresh tank. It was maybe about 1/3 of the way full. There's a lot of water on the ground, so I switched into my mud boots. Got my mud boots on, and we got a lot of mud out here. just give a little bit of a background. We have been in Sun City at the Sunflower Resort since September 3rd. We've been on city water the entire time. Prior to that, the last time we used our freshwater tank for the purpose of fresh water was when all the way back in all the way back when we were in Yellowstone. So that was about mid to late August. So we're talking then September, October, November, December, and this is January, so that's almost 5 months. So this is a good time to do this. In a couple of weeks, we're going to be leaving for quartzsite, so we wanted to make sure that we had fresh water for quartzsite. So I basically am just using my freshwater hose, going through my filter, and we're going to do about maybe a little over a third to a half, and then we'll put the chlorine in. Don't forget to close your valve. Okay, I just noticed that my camera might not have been running when I recorded one particular segment, and a very important segment. I had a glass measuring cup. I went ahead and filled it with a cup and a half of bleach, and in preparation. Now basically the bleach I'm pouring directly into the tank, but only after it has been about halfway filled with water. The bleach then goes into the water. I immediately continue to fill the tank with water after pouring the bleach in. That gives the chance for the bleach to dilute, mix around with the new water coming in, and not be sitting in the tank without any water in it at all. So when we're all done, we will have 78 gallons of water with a cup and a half of bleach in it. So we are now going to finish filling the water until it is overflowing, and then we'll go inside and do a couple of last minute things before we are done for today. Okay, I hear the water coming out, which means we are full. Alright, so let's go ahead and shut the water off. City water is still off. I'm going to go inside now. And run the faucets to get the chlorine to actually pass through the system. If I was sanitizing after it had been parked for a long time and I wasn't using city water, I would run the water through the faucets and not touch anything for 24 hours. But the fact that we have been hooked up to city water, the water line going from the city water through our regular plumbing is perfectly fine. What I need to be careful of is the lines that go from the pump into where it connects to the city water. So by running water at every faucet, waiting to smell the chlorine coming through, then I know that the chlorine has made its way all the way through the system, and then I can go ahead and shut the pump off, put the city water back on. We'll be able to use city water for the next 24 hours, but we'll let everything else sit for 24 hours and let that chlorine just kind of do its magic. All right, so we're going to go ahead and start running the water. And we should be on the pump. And I'm waiting for the chlorine to start coming through. Not quite. I'm starting to sense it. Whoa, that's probably it now. Let's see. Almost there. Okay. Yeah, I'm starting to smell the chlorine, so I can go ahead and shut that off. And we'll do the same thing in the bathroom and in the shower. Once we get the chlorine smell happening, I'm going to shut the pump off and turn the city water back on so we have water for the next 24 and we'll pick this up tomorrow about the same time and finish the sanitizing. Okay, so it's a little more than 24 hours later, probably about 25, 26. You should see a little bit of cloud cover, but it is getting darker out, so I got to do this quick. It wouldn't have hurt to let it sit another day if I had to. 24 hours is kind of the minimum anyway. But now all I need to do is drain the freshwater tank and refill it with fresh water, and we're pretty much going to be done with the process. So yesterday got pretty flooded when I dumped, and I only had probably maybe 25-30 gallons in there. It's going to be pretty messy with 78 gallons coming out all over the ground. So let's go ahead and get this done quickly, and we'll be done. Here we go. So as the water's coming out, I can smell the chlorine in it. It's definitely chlorinated, and it's definitely going to flood. We'll let it continue here till we're completely empty, and then we're going to go ahead and refill. All right, I'm back in my mud boots. It looks like it's getting close to finishing, and smell a lot of chlorine out here. I'm going to go ahead and grab the water filter and get the hose ready to go to refill this thing. Now the only step left to go is going to be turning the pump back on once it's done, letting the fresh water flush through again, and just make sure that I'm not getting a chlorinated smell through the pipes. I won't record that, but basically if I did get a strong chlorinated smell still, it means I will do one more dump of the fresh tank, one more refill of the fresh tank, and that should get rid of any remnant chlorinated smells. Truthfully, the first time should do it, but the second one only if I had used too much chlorine in the first place, which I don't think I did this time. A cup and a half should not give me that residual smell. So that's going to be it for this video. I got two huskies fighting a few feet away from me here. Wrestling, not really fighting. Yeah, so give me a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe, especially if you like this video. Yeah, if you like it, give me a thumbs up. If you don't hit anything. Watch someone else. No, just kidding. Yeah, so and also make sure you hit that notification bell. It'll let you know when we post, which is every Sunday at 2 o'clock. It'll just remind you that there's a new video. So that's it for now, and hope to see you on the road.